G'day YouTube, 20 past 3 in the afternoon, barometer's rising, 1013.3 millibars, 33.3 degrees Celsius, 39% relative humidity, so that's actually dropping. It's the 12th of January 2013. It hasn't rained since the 28th of December. So that's about 16 days, and during the whole of December we had 185 mils of rain. So here we see 33 degrees air temperature in the ventilated, insulated maximum minimum thermometer on the south side of a stringy bark tree. So that's pretty much as accurate as I can get you the temperature of the air blowing through the forest at the moment. Over here we're looking at 46 degrees, and that's in an alcohol thermometer in a plastic tube with a green cap on the bottom and a green cap on the top, in the full glare of that mysterious great big yellow thing in the sky that all the light and the heat comes from. As you can see, it's not a clear blue day, it's just a bloody hot one. And here in the clearing we've got little tiny gusts of wind, not a whole lot, you know, like wind speed is below 5 kilometres per hour. And the grass is so green and so vigorous and luscious, and it's sieving so much moisture out of the air at night from the dew in condensation, and it's keeping its roots so well watered. I have not yet found it necessary to crank up the field slasher and commence the annual seasonal sheet mulching. I'm basically trying to give everything its best possible chance to produce some seed and increase the vegetation, cover up the rocks with topsoil style of thing. Okay, so let's see what we can get out of the Forest Fire Danger Meter. Mark 5, vintage 1973, designed by A.G. MacArthur, Forest Research Institute, Forestry and Timber Bureau, Canberra. Part 1. Use of the meter. Set last rainfall A against number of days since rain B. Read off drought factor C in window corresponding to the current drought index. Well, their scale only goes up to 100 millimetres, and I figure that M there corresponds to 185 millimetres, which I've just placed on the 16 days since it rained here. And yeah, I'm going with the entire monthly rainfall for December rather than just the rainfall for the 28th of December, because we had so bloody much of it and the ground was squelching and the spring was running under the hut. So this is, you know, the valid figure. Now it says set arrow D against the derived drought factor. Well, the derived drought factor comes up as being 4. So there we have the arrow, which has to be set against the 4. Step 3, set air temperature, slide 3, against relative humidity, slide 2. So we're looking for 33 degrees set against 39% relative humidity. Read off the fire danger index and danger classification on the outer rim opposite the wind speed. Okay, so the wind speed at 0 kilometres an hour, we got a drought factor of 4. At say 2.5, we may have a drought factor of 4.5, maybe 4.3. Below that wasn't a drought factor, it was a bushfire danger factor of 4.3. given 10 kilometres an hour in the gusts, let's say it's a danger factor of 5. Now, considering that everybody else in New South Wales, southern Queensland, Victoria and Tasmania, they're all looking at a bushfire danger of over 100, which is extreme, they're into the catastrophic, I would say I'm doing extremely well. I'm particularly pleased with that. We now have refer to back of the meter for additional fire behaviour information. Fuel quantity, well, let's say worst case 25 tonnes per hectare. I might even actually have a bit more than that. In the strongest wind we've got today, 10 kilometre an hour gusts, down here, what we've got is R in kilometres per hour. Now R is the rate of forward speed in kilometres per hour, 0.14. So in an hour you'd expect a fire in 10 kilometres an hour to go 140 metres from where you light it. H in M is the height of the flame in metres. So 3 metres, 10-foot flames. That's in 10 kilometres an hour wind. If you've got less wind than that, you're probably still going to get the same flame height. S is the distance that the fire is going to spot. In kilometres, 0.1. So you're going to get spot fires going maybe 100 metres ahead of the flame front, even at 33 degrees. Hello, how are you, Mrs. Dogface? How are the twins? Are they going well? There we go. Would you like a slice of bread? Oh yes, yes. Take it away. You wouldn't want to go sitting too close to the human who gives you the bread, would you? That would induce cognitive dissonance. And you don't want to induce cognitive dissonance because that will put stress hormones into your blood, which will be excreted by the nipples feeding the twins in the pouch. And we want the twins to stay calm. Isn't that right, Mrs. Dogface? The kangaroo who's raising twins. I'm sure you can see that there are 3 back feet sticking out of the pouch there, and the pouch is nearly as big as the kangaroo. If you doubt that she's raising twins, back scroll my videos looking for a movie that says kangaroo with twins. Would you like another bit of bread? Yes, you would, wouldn't you? Yes. Bread's good, isn't it? When you've got nice green grass and you've got free water and you can live up close to a human who frightens the foxes away. So you can risk having 2 joeys in one season simultaneously. Isn't that right, Mrs. Dogface? Yes, you're a clever old girl, you are. Aren't you, eh? Even if you make a mess of it and the fox gets one of them, you've still raised 1 joey. Whereas if you only tried to raise 1 and the fox got 1, you'd have no joey. And if you pull it off, you wind up with twice the breeding success. You're a clever old girl, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay, I'm going to go back to talking about bushfires, I guess. The thing is, I'm really glad that I'm living in a wet spot up here. And the only things I've done to make it a wet spot is use a Stihl FS150 1978 vintage field slasher and try and sheet mulch to build up the topsoil and get the soil moisture profile to stick around for longer when it doesn't rain, so I don't go into a bushfire fuel bomb as fast as I would otherwise do. And the other thing is, I figure it can't hurt to rain dance. So first I tried to work out my own personal rain-making ritual, and that worked better than not doing a ritual, and it worked better than going and praying in a church with a waterproof roof, because in 1994 I lost my drought 6 weeks before everybody around me lost theirs. Like, By the end of November, I'd had 130% of my annual November rainfall, and everybody else kept their drought, and it didn't break for them until Christmas Day. So 6 weeks early. Well, that was pretty cool. Then I compared that with a local traditional rain dance, and it worked just as good. And if you really want to get serious, you can use a bull roarer. Search Magical Thinking, Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 on my video scroll, and you'll learn about the experiments I've done. Using a bull roarer will make your rain dance about 5 times more effective, you know. 2.5 millimetres instead of 0.5 millimetre in the afternoon when you do the dance in the morning in a clear blue sky. Some people get cranky when I describe myself as the local rural fire service brigade's rain dancer. They think that means I'm implying that the RFS gives me the job of rain dancer. They don't. What it means is I'm the only member of the brigade who thinks rain dancing is worth doing. Everybody else thinks I'm the fool on the hill. But when it stops raining, my place stays green for longer, and my drought goes away earlier. And the kangaroos reckon that this is such a nice place to live that they have twins. So, for whatever it's worth, believing a rain-making ritual is going to be worth doing seems to work out better than believing it's not worth doing. And it doesn't seem to matter whether you make it up off your own bat, whether you reach into the mist of history for a traditional local rain dance. That'll work better than not doing it, and that'll also work better than going and praying in a church with a waterproof roof. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.